that change in your company. So, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all. We may have some people come in a little bit, but thank you so much for coming this morning. We are going to record this, and it is available via Zoom. So we're here in person, also available via Zoom. So if you know anybody who might like to watch it, have them join our YouTube channel, and then they can also get this information on our YouTube channel. So it is my, and I just wanted to tell you about some of the handouts here. So the handout from Mr. Haig, and then there's also something on cybersecurity. So definitely look into that. We're also having a class on Monday evening at 7 p.m. on phone security.
Okay.
So I hope you join us.
In person?
In person.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're planning on attending, let us know. We'll get you registered for that one also. And then there's a
6, right?
It's at 6, yeah. There's a brief survey to fill out, so if you just give us some feedback, we really appreciate it on this one. And no further ado, it's my pleasure to present Sergeant Robert Haig. Thank you.
She got it correct. My name is Robert Mark Haig. I'm a retired sergeant from the Detroit Police Department. I spent 27 years there.
What precinct?
14 different commands. Uniform precincts were 13, 3, 10, and 11. And 13 different chiefs and a whole bunch of mayors. So you're probably wondering, what am I doing down here in Trenton teaching a scam prevention class? Well, to understand that, you're gonna have to listen to my story in my first case, okay? I had about 10 years on the job. I was assigned to the Armed Robbery Task Force. I was given an armed robbery report. I had a 75-year-old female, said she had gone to the bank with her 7-year-old grandson. In the parking lot, she was approached by a male and female suspects, mid-50s, both dressed as if they were going to church. The male suspect picked up the grandson, put a gun to his head, and said, "You're gonna go in and take this." Yeah, pretty heinous, right? Sounds like Detroit, right? Unfortunately. Well, I've been around a while, and 10 years on the job didn't sound right, okay? I don't have no Bonnie and Clyde crew running around, kind of an unwritten law on the street that you definitely don't put a gun to a kid's head. And why would you take a gun in the bank? That could be a federal charge. Well, I pulled the video, and guess what? There is my victim in the line, in the bank. Right behind her is the male suspect holding her grandson. Okay, well, there's some validity to what she's telling me, but I know something's not right. She's not telling me the whole story. So I called her up. I said, "I'm going to have to come back and re-interview you. Something just doesn't feel right." I go over to her house, sit down. I said, "You got to tell me the truth if you want me to solve this crime." She hangs her head down. She looks up. She said, "I'm going to tell you exactly what happened." She was at the grocery store. She was putting groceries in the back of her car. Female suspect walked up to her with this and asked her if she dropped it. She said, "No." The female suspect says, "There's a lot of money here. I counted it. There's $30,000. There's no name. There's no number on it. Maybe we could keep it and split it. What do you think?" Conversation's going on briefly. At this time, the male suspect approaches. He's in pants, shirt, tie. He says, "Hey, what do you have there?" And the female suspect tries to hide it from him. "Nothing. You didn't see anything. We don't have nothing." He says, "Yeah, I saw it was money." The female suspect turns it over to the male suspect, who examines it in the same way. He says, "Well, there's a lot of money here." "How much?" $30,000. "Well, there's no name or number on it. Maybe we can keep it." And this conversation continues, correct? At some point, the male suspect says, "Hey, you know what? I got a buddy named Gary. He works at the Nextel store on Woodward. He can wash that for us. We'll split it 3 ways. That way they can't trace it. What do you think?" And she agrees. She gets in the car with her grandson. 2 suspects, drives up to a Nextel store on Woodward. Okay? Male suspect gets out, goes inside, comes out with a similar bag of money. Said, yep, Gary took care of me. Female suspect goes in, comes out, very excited. Yes, Gary took care of me. Now it's our victim's turn. But they stop her. They say, listen, Gary doesn't know you. You know, he could go to jail, he could lose his job. He's going to need to see some upfront money. And guess where they go? They drive to the bank. She goes in willingly, takes out $3,000 cash. They drive back to the Nextel store. The suspects tell her, we'll stay in the car with your grandson. We'll keep all the monies in the car, of course, in case the police show up. Just go in up to the counter, ask for Gary, he's the manager. She gets out, goes up into the store, goes up to the counter, asks for Gary, and guess what? There is no Gary. She realized she's been had. She rushes back to the car, and the only thing left is her grandson. Both suspects are gone with her $3,000. You ever heard of anything like that? I hadn't. I was born and raised in Southwest Detroit. I had 10 years on the Detroit Police Department. Never heard it, never seen it. You know what this is called?
Pigeon drop.
Very good.
What's it called?
It's a pigeon drop. Okay? I had no idea what I was doing. Okay? How am I going to investigate this? Although I was fairly confident, I'm going to be able to catch a guy and a gal dressed like they're going to church, mid-50s. How hard can that be? Took me almost 2.5 years to solve this. Almost 2.5 years. When I originally checked on paper, I had 66 cases. It didn't say pigeon drop. It was just something similar to this. If I had 66, I soon realized I had 600. Okay? Why? Because these cases are very rarely reported. Okay? Now, mine got better. Anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months later, the victim would get a phone call, and it would go something like this. Hello, ma'am. This is Captain Sims, Detroit Police Department. Remember that guy and girl that robbed you? You were with your grandson. They took you to the Nextel store. You got $3,000. We caught them. They're in custody. Okay? But we're going to need your help. I'm going to send 2 officers over. Within 20 minutes, there's a knock on the door. 2 guys in suits, trench coats, badges, flashlights, radios, briefcase. They would sit the victim down and show her this. It's a letter from the prosecutor's office, copy of a search warrant, photostatic copies of money, legitimate newspaper articles, and they would explain to the victim that indeed they caught the suspects, but her bank is in on it. The manager of her specific branch and her teller are both in on it with these suspects. Okay? They're going to need her help to apprehend everybody. So they were going to drive her to the bank and have her take out $7,000. Okay? She would load up to the car. They would drive her up there. They would express to her not to tell anybody. She would go in, take out $7,000. They would drive her home, put it in a very official-looking envelope, thank her for her cooperation, tell her when this goes to litigation, they would contact her. And guess what, folks? She never saw him again. She has been double-dipped for $10,000. 3 the first time, 7 the second time. Pretty unbelievable, right? Okay? Scams and cons. How long has it been around? Forever? Yeah, when that guy picked up that first rock and put a 1 on it, there was someone standing right next to him and said, hey, let me take a look at that for you. Okay, it's been around forever. What does con stand for?
Confidence.
Confidence game. Correct. Confidence game. How did this all happen? What's that look like? That look like a bag of money? That's $4 US, wrapped around newspaper. What about this? That look like the police? Sure does. How about having a suit on, radio, flashlight? How about this package they carried with them? Folks, this is all evidence for my first case. Does that look legitimate? How do you know? Correct? How do you know? Okay? Now, what happened to these individuals? Like I said, I thought I would solve this fairly quick. Did not. Did not, and I learned my lesson. Like I said, just over 2 years. When I identified this crew total, there was 13 of them. I had them as far west as Seattle, Washington, as far east as New York. They predominantly worked what they referred to as the Golden Triangle, Fairfield, Alabama to Detroit to New York. So a crew would come in, hook up with a crew from Detroit, they'd work it for them a week, and then move on and move on and move on and move on. Pretty good stuff, right? Okay. 13 suspects total. 3 of them were female. The rest were male. I think 4 were from Detroit. The rest were from out of state. So how did this work and how did we catch them? Well, by rotating, if I go to California and grab somebody's purse, how is California PD, whatever jurisdiction it is, know who I am if I simply go back to Detroit? Just kind of see how these folks operate, okay? To make it crystal clear on the makeup of these suspects, after we had identified them, we surveilled them, okay? The day we catch them, there were 5 suspects, 2 in one car, dressed as if they were the police, okay? 3 in a trail car. They picked their victim up in Highland Park. They were taking her back for the second half. They were going to take her to the bank. Halfway there, the victim gets hinky. He's like, nah, I don't like the feel of this. They turned around, drove all the way down Livernois, parked right next to the 10th precinct. The male suspect got out and walked in the precinct. Walked right out the other side, crossed Livernois to the Coney Island. He got a cup of coffee, walked back across Livernois, right through the police station, got in the car and told the victim, yes, I talked to our commander. We have to do it today. And guess what, folks? That was the con portion, the confidence. They drove up and took out $7,000. Fortunately for her, we were following them and we locked everybody up. Okay? The day we arrest them, in the pocket of one of the suspects is this. It's a letter from the John Hancock Life Insurance. And it's addressed to Mr. Jamel Abdullah, who lives in the Republic of Guado in South Africa. And it's informing Mr. Jamel Abdullah that his uncle, who died in the 9/11 tragedy, they finally settled that lawsuit. And Mr. Abdullah has $850,000 coming. Right? But guess what? Mr. Abdullah, he's not a U.S. citizen. I'm not a U.S. citizen. If you help me, see, I got this letter, 850 grand. If you help me, I'll give you 25. I just need to get this back to South Africa. Well, she looks hesitant, right? Look what else he had. Oh boy. This is from the township of South Africa, Guado. And it's authored by the high priest Jambo Mubatu of the Imperial Dynasty of Guado, South Africa. And it's thanking you for helping Mr. Abdullah get that $850,000 to South Africa, okay, to save the 3-legged turtles and everything else, okay? Does she fall for it? Just like the first part, okay? How does this work, folks? if she's gonna help me, and I'll give her 25 or 50 grand, I'm gonna need to see some upfront money. Okay? And that's the scam portion. Okay? This crew is doing a multifaceted scam, and they're still carrying this in their pocket. Okay? So, what else did the crew do? They would also act as police officers. They would go into a post office, get an official looking wanted poster from the FBI. Okay? And they would go where any elderly people frequented, pharmacy, grocery store, post office. Okay? And I would approach you and ask her if she knew, you know this guy? He just killed 2 state troopers in Ohio. What's your address? And she says 123 ABC Street. That's his last known address. Let's go. We're gonna go take a look. And if the victim resisted, they would threaten with arrest. Okay? Same crew. Any churchgoers here? It's okay. You can raise your hand. I'm real loud, folks. I don't bite hardly at all, so don't be frightened. This is their Bible. They would go to your church and get the homebound or infirm list off the back, show up in their Sunday finest to that address, knock on the door and say, yes, we're from the Church of Christ or whatever the listed church was. We are new members. We're here to pray with you. And when the victim would let them in, the female suspect would pray, or at least seem to be praying, while the male suspect looted the house. Okay? All the same crew. You're getting kind of a feel for how con artists work, and you think you're going to outwit them? They've been at it for a long time, folks. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay, street scams that kind of go with this, and then we're going to tell you how to prevent it. Okay? Anybody drive? Everybody drive here? Where do you shop? Where do you grocery shop?
Aldi, Meyer.
She pulls into Aldi, right? Pulls into Aldi, gets out of her car, and I walk up. Hey, did you notice that wobble in your front wheel? Almost came off. Almost came off. My name is Mike Bryant. I work at Discount Tires. I'm not going to feel safe with you driving that home. I got some tools in the car. Let me fix it real quick. $20. Just go ahead. I already got it. And I'm already unloading some tools. She goes into this Aldi's. She comes out 10 minutes later. Yeah, you're all set. You had a bad bushing. The shock was loose. I adjusted the control arm. You're good. $200. Now what does she do? She pay me? Go ahead, you can say it. It was $20 originally, right? Why I had to use more parts? That's okay. Does she pay?
Of course. Saved your life.
I'm sorry.
Of course, because he saved your life.
He didn't do anything. He didn't fix the car.
I understand, but I just.
In their head, correct.
Yeah.
And the other thing, folks, we're in here talking about this class. You're in here with a bunch of people. How about being alone and being approached? Okay? That can work anyway. They can say you had a ding or dent in your car. Okay? I'll fix it real quick. I work in an auto body shop. Let me take care of that. How about I stop and ask you for directions? I need to get to 1, 2, 3. And she gives me the directions. And I tell her, oh my gosh, thank you. Here, let me give you my necklace because I don't have any money. And as I put it on her, I take her earrings or her necklace. Okay? Got it? Now let's back everything up. Let's start with the first case. The con portion was definitely the money, the police officers. Do we let the police in our house? No. No. Why? Because we're in America. You don't have to. The only time the police can come in your house is with an arrest or a search warrant. Okay? They have to present that to you. And the key for all of us, they have to have a marked unit there, okay? They have to have uniform presence there so you know they're the police, okay? What about our suspects, right? I said arrest or search warrant. Didn't they have a search warrant? Yeah, they did. Do you guys know what one looks like? So if they can convince you that it's real, you're gonna let them in, right? No, you do not let them in, folks, okay? You don't let them in unless there's uniformed officers there, okay? Got it? How about the parking lot, the grocery store, wherever you're going? Anybody here born and raised in Detroit? East side, west side?
East.
Oh, okay. East, west side. I don't know how you grew up. I grew up in Delray. And you learn,
Can't know everything, can one?
you learn when you stepped out the front door, this is the step you took. You look left, you look right, you looked at the sidewalk, make sure your car's not up on milk crates, scan the other side of the street in case the bullies were after you, okay? That's how I was raised. You want to get a good laugh? Next time you go to the store, watch the people coming out, okay? Number one, we have to be cognizant of where we're at. We're victims, folks. You know, you're at the watering hole, you're the lion, you're waiting. Oh, the rhino. Oh, no, rhino. Bull elephant. Oh, here comes the gazelle. Yeah. We're targets because of our age. So, before you enter a parking lot, before you enter a building, before you do anything, you should be aware of what's out there, right? If there was a lion next to your car, you wouldn't go over there, would you? What if it was a 16-year-old kid with his hood up? Would you go over there? What if she was standing next to your car? Would you go? That's what this is about, folks. You have to be aware and you have to be very cognizant of what you're doing, okay? So what happens if you're coming out of the grocery store and you see someone by your car? What do? How about just telling the buggy guy, hey, can you walk me to my car? You know, doesn't look right. No buggy guy, go back in. Hey, this guy in the parking lot, he's by my car, I feel nervous. How about calling 911 if you're that afraid? That's what we get paid for, okay? You don't go out there and approach them, okay? How about you get kind of Pearl Harbored? You've been cognizant, you looked and you're down putting in your groceries and the guy's right next to you. Now I'm right next to her. And she knows she's fudged up a little bit. Now what does she do? Does she just listen to him? No. Hey, I don't know him. Hey, I don't feel comfortable. I need some help. And your suspect will leave. If you feel brave enough, get your phone out. Okay? I don't really recommend that because if you start taking pictures, you might lose your phone. Okay? Any questions on that? Street crime is really easy to avoid. You just have to be aware of where you're at all the time. And like I say, the next time you go out, next time when you leave this library, look around, see who's paying attention. Plenty of people get robbed just because they don't know what they're, be aware. That's all. Okay, any questions on that?
If someone is following you around in let's say a market, you suspect that they're, sizing you up to rob you, should you go to the security in the market? I mean,
Go to anybody, a cashier, anybody who's close to you now, okay? Yeah, definitely. And you gotta remember, again, because of your age, how about if it's you gotta assume everybody's a suspect, okay? I hate to say that, but you have to. What if it's a female and a child? That is classic grocery store gypsy work, okay? I'm Erin's age, and she has a 5-year-old girl with her. And while Erin's looking at the noodles, the little girl comes down to you and says, hey, can you reach up for that peanut butter down at the end? And the little girl walks down. Does she go with her? Because while you're getting the peanut butter, Aaron's looting your purse if you left it in the buggy.
Yeah.
Okay? Typical distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime, folks, anytime you feel uncomfortable or unsafe, take action. Okay? Don't fist fight. Okay? Probably not gonna win that one. But yes, find anybody that will help you, even if it's someone standing next to you. You see what I'm saying? If you don't, you're gonna become a victim. But what do you think?
It's a book.
Now what? I knock on her front door. What do you do? Hi.
Don't answer.
That's okay. That's a good one. That's bullshit. Nobody home. Go to the next house. Someone's gonna greet me at the door, correct? How you doing today, ma'am?
I don't want anything, so I wouldn't go to the door, I don't know.
So I said, how you doing today, ma'am? Doing good. Did you see the fire trucks by any chance? Okay, we had a transformer overload on the corner, and that power surge went into the 4 houses. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, Gary, I'm doing the grid now. Yes. Yep, stand by. Yes, we just need to go down and check your breaker in the basement. You can come with us, okay? Just to make sure there's no fire. Is she gonna let me in? Someone is, right? Someone is. Confidence game. Okay? Very common scam. It's called utility worker impersonator. Okay? This can go any of 2 ways. Usually it's power or water. Water pressure is low. We need to check it. They take you down basement or wherever your utility sink is, turn on the water 2 or 3 times, and while they're checking that or flipping your breaker, suspect number 2 is looting your house. Okay? Many occasions they've had a white panel van with a ladder on the top for more confidence. Okay? So once you let them in, you go downstairs. As soon as they're done looting the house, the guy downstairs with you gets to click on his cell phone and they're out the door. Folks, it's going on every day. Last one in Farmington, they had a magnetic placard on their car that identified them as City of Farmington. So when I got ready to retire, they had gotten so good, if they were allowed in, I would look at my sheet and inform her that she had a rebate coming. You have a $50 rebate coming. Would you like that? Of course she would, right? So I give her a $100 bill, and what does she have to do? She goes right to the cookie jar or wherever she's got to go, and I already know where to look. Very good scam, folks. And keep in mind, everything I'm telling you, you may not fall for, but everything I'm letting you know today, it's for you and your neighbor, okay? You see someone that in a regular car dressed like me on your neighbor's porch, you better do something about it, okay? And you don't have to go over there and intervene, but you can make a phone call very easily, all right? It's a very good scam. Any questions on that? Nobody asked about my ID? Nice, eh? It's part of it, guys. What's that say? That's from the Super Bowl when I worked Secret Squirrel back in the day. This is all just regular ID from that. If you look at it closely, you can see it's Super Bowl. But back here, just like this badge, again, this is all actual evidence. How's that look? Pretty good, right? Same wallet.
Robert, is there a way to authenticate a police badge?
You're not gonna be able to do it on the
Just
street.
Not
Because you
in
gotta remember, also with this comes the presentation. Okay, if I come up to her and say, I wanna talk to you about something, and I can do the Bob, hey, you, come here, police. Don't look at me, come here. You see the difference, okay? This is real, this is not. And how often do we actually look at stuff? Especially if you're pulled over by a police officer or talked to by a police officer, okay? Any questions? Well, fire away, folks. Okay, this one just happened recently. Across the street from my sister's house in Farmington Hills. It's a repair scam, okay? Have you heard of it? Let's start with one and then I'll get to my sister's neighbor's case, okay? Probably the most prevalent ones is driveway sealing, okay? So what happens with this is, first off, because of our age, we're easy to spot, at least in Livonia, okay? If I drive down the street, there's a flag in front of the house, they got a little, their lawn chairs have that yellow or white and green webbing still in them. Okay, they got that cutout of the lady doing flowers. Older folks. Okay, so what the suspects do, like me, I have a pickup truck, they have a reservoir in the back, big tank. They drive through the neighborhood and they see most elderly will sit in their garage during the summer. I pull in. How you doing today, sir? Hey, I just did a sealing job on King Road. We did the liquor store there. I got extra materials. Okay? I'll do that. I'm gonna dump it anyway. $20, let me do that. And he's still trying to figure it out, and I'm out spraying his driveway. Okay? I get done. Looks great. It's glistening. You happy? And folks, I'm not putting you on the spot individually, sir. Keep in mind, again, you're home alone. Okay? There's nobody to look to for help. There's nobody to talk to. He doesn't even have to tell me it's good. Okay? You owe me $400.
Oh.
What does he do? Does he pay it? Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna pay it. He's gonna pay it because he doesn't want the confrontation. I'm gonna get louder, I'm gonna get, hey, you agreed, you told me to do it. Yeah, I know I said $20, but I have to use extra materials and it's not coming out of my pocket. You see where I'm going? Okay. So, this can go anyway. I'll explain how my sister's case went. Well, let's stay on the driveway sealing one, because first off, that's not sealing. It's colored water. It's all just gonna run right down into the street on the first rain, okay? The one that made the media was the biggest one. She was in Waterford and they got her for $4,000. They have footage of the suspects taking her to her credit union to get the money out. Okay? Now, this can do anything. You got loose shingles, loose concrete work, the fence in the backyard is going. We need to look at the property line. Anything to engage you and either get money from you or to get in your house. My sister's neighbor went like this. She's a 75-year-old victim. She came home from Meyer. She parked in the garage, left her garage door open. Okay? 2 minutes later, there's a knock on the front door. Male and female, mid-50s. She comes to the door. She goes, can I help you? He goes, you don't recognize me? And she goes, no. He goes, we talked last week about your driveway. I'm working down the street here. You don't recognize, takes his hat off. You don't recognize me? She steps out on the front porch. He goes, yeah, we had talked about doing your driveway. You know, you got these small, and, you know, I'm gonna do it for $90. Before she even can agree or not agree, a third suspect is out, is spackling and patching a few spots on her driveway. Within 5 minutes, she is then led around to the side of the house to look at more damage, specifically the chimney and the back deck. Well, we all know what's going on in the front of the house. Someone's in her house looting it. She comes back to the front. They're done. They're already packing up. It's going to be $2,000. She's outraged. She goes, no, I'm not paying you anything. Fortunately for her, she called her grandson who lived about a block away. He came over, at which time another neighbor heard the commotion and came over. And the suspects didn't attempt to flee. They just changed the story. Yeah, she agreed. She just misunderstood. We said $90 a pound, and we had to use X amount to do the driveway. And you know what was the most disgraceful part of the whole thing? She paid him $200 in cash. You know why? To get rid of him, to be done with it. I just want it settled and I want it gone. Okay? Okay, this is just like the street scams when you're in the parking lot or whatever. How do we avoid that? Okay? If I pull up in your driveway, what should you do? How about hitting the garage door? Bzzz. Okay? Or you see someone pulling, simply walk in your house, folks, and lock the door. You want to talk to them to the door, you can. Okay? But what about like the grocery store parking lot? You get caught up out there. You're weeding flowers or whatever, and I'm right next to you. And I'm asking you to seal your driveway or to fix your roof or whatever. Offensive, remember? Just like the parking lot. Hey, Aaron, I don't know him. He wants something from me. Can you come over? Well, maybe Aaron's not there, right? How about, let me go ask my grandson. He's home from the Marine Corps. Let me talk to him. Or hold on, let me get my phone. Okay? So you don't have to turtle, you don't have to fight, but you have to take some action. Okay? Any questions on that?
What if you yelled fire?
If you what?
Yelled fire.
Fire.
To
I've never-
create, to create a distraction or so.
Oh, if you yell fire? Nah, you can do that if you want, but like you say, you can just take some action. Number one, for all the street stuff, don't get approached. Okay? Go out to the parking lot, there's a lion in there, a lion laying out there. If you don't go out there, you never get bit, right? Be aware up to that point. And take whatever action you think is appropriate. But don't do it meekly. Okay? If you do it meekly, you know, a Detroiter, myself, and I am loud, but you come up with that back, get your butt back up. First off, you're too close to me. I don't want none of your nonsense. And they're gonna go on. If you would have seen these crews work, they would get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, they would go to McDonald's, they would get a Danish and a coffee, and they would start work. They would go to their first location, which was Farmer Jack's in Highland Park. That's always started there. And they would try 6 to 7 people. If that didn't work, they'd go to the pharmacy across the street. And then they would go to the post office. Just nonstop until they got somebody to bite. Just like the driveway sealing. You don't want it sealed? He don't want it sealed? I'm gonna keep going until I get somebody, folks. That's how scams work. When you get that phone call and they say to their IRS, you hang up on them or you yell at them, they don't care. They're gonna move on to the next victim. Any questions on that, on the street portion? You sure? All right, phone and computer scams. What is the number one phone scam? The grandparent scam. Does everybody know how that works? So the phone call is going to go something like this. Hello? Hello? Yeah, this is Waco, Texas PD. We have your grandson in custody. And guess what? Normally the victim goes, "Who, you got Timmy?" And they go, "Yeah, that's who we got. We got Timmy." He was involved in a multiple car accident. He hit a lady. She was pregnant. She lost one of the twins. She's in a coma. Looks like Timmy's going to be with us for a long time. His court case is not till Tuesday. He can bond out till then. He needs $383. Do you pay it? Yeah, people pay it. How about you're smart enough and you say, hey, I want to talk to Timmy. And they put Timmy on the line and you say, this doesn't sound like Timmy. And he goes, Grandma, it's me. My jaw is wired shut. My eye orbital bone was broken. I can barely talk. I love you. Please get the money. Do you send it? I had a couple in my class. I've been doing Livonia Senior Center for 10 years. They got taken for almost $1,000 in that scam. And they've been listening to me. Remember the con portion, okay? Remember the con portion. If they can convince you that it actually happened, you're going to pay the money. Okay? What else happens on the phone scams? IRS. Okay? The old back taxes. We're going to send U.S. Marshals to you. You don't pay today, you're going to get locked up. You don't pay today, we're going to lock you. How about utilities? You're in arrears. Pay your bills, or we're going to shut your gas off. Or we're going to shut your water off. Or whatever. You missed jury duty. You owe parking tickets. You won the sweepstakes. How about you got an inheritance coming from a long-lost relative in England?
Someone in my family, they somehow found out the exact amount she paid for her electricity. It was like a busy holiday weekend. They called her and they said, and we all know that they'll give you extensions, or not cut it off out of nowhere. But they said, if you don't pay right now, your check for $383.98 bounced. You got to resend it. And so she sent it, the payment, and then they called her and said, it didn't work. You got to send another one. So they got her twice.
Oh my God.
So and she believed them and somehow the number came up, DTE or whatever. She believed them because they knew the exact number that she paid out. I don't know how they find that out. I was wondering if you knew.
They can pick up your mail whenever if she gets a bill, scammers can go any route, folks, okay? I go by your house and pick up your DTE bill. I get your account number on it. I can estimate or I can guess on a number. You got to remember also when you're talking to elderly victims, they are trying to explain away why they made a mistake, okay? So remember the first case? She didn't get pigeon dropped. She just got robbed at gunpoint. So when victims are trying to explain, you can acquire any bit of information you would like to. I don't know how they got the exact dollar amount for her case, but I would guess they probably pulled her bill. You can pull her bill, get all her information, reseal it, and put it back in her mailbox. It's going to be none the wiser. So, yeah, them acquiring information on you is the con portion of it. Okay? Anybody sitting in this room, okay? Give me your name. If I had I can probably do it on my phone. I can tell you I can tell you where you live, what your home phone number is. I can tell you who you were married to, who you divorced, who your kids are, who your grandkids are, aunts, uncles, everything. Imagine having that little bit of information and I call you up. Yeah, I talked to your sister Carol in Florida. That's why we're making this call. And it's that little bit that, oh, well, I guess it is legit. So here's what we do on the telephone. First off, who has a home phone? Did you guys all come on a stagecoach? Yeah! Did you?
And it's a good stable line. Don't break up stuff.
It's my fax machine.
Hold on. Don't get me wrong. If you want to keep that home phone, that's great. This right here is $800 worth of everything you need. Okay? But if you want to keep that home phone, you just have to be aware, number one, is your phone number listed? Okay? Because I can guarantee if I'm a scammer and I look up Ann Smith, who stays on 123 ABC Street, and she has a home phone, I guarantee she's over 65 years old. guaranteed, and probably lives alone. Okay? So you're gonna get those phone calls. Okay? How do we avoid the scams on the phone?
Call screening,
What?
call screening.
Screening?
I blocked them.
Block them?
I'm able to block them from my.
I give out my card with my email address and my phone number on it nonstop. I don't get any scam calls. Are they afraid of me? No. Don't pick up the phone. I cannot stress that enough. I cannot stress it enough. Okay?
I don't pick up the phone. I have blocked yesterday 20 phone calls, and they still seem to, I get that many every day.
If you only pick up one once a month, you're on the list. Okay? Why would they keep calling Bob Haig's number? Because they know I'm not gonna pick up, but they can call your number and know at some point she will pick up. Okay? Do not answer the phone. Okay, what if it's something important? It'll go to voicemail.
They'll leave a message.
They leave a message. Do you call them back? Not the numbers they provided. Okay? Not the numbers they provided. Hey, we get the call from Medicare. We're dropping your Medicare. Okay? We're dropping it in 2 hours. Okay? Okay, that's on your voicemail. Then you call your agent. You call Medicare. You don't call the numbers they provide for you. You call, and they're going to go, that's not us. What are you guys doing? No, it's not us. Okay? Let me tell you about a case in Livonia where I live. They called the victim, mid-70s, female, told her it was ATF. Her social security number was used to rent a car in Texas, and they found 2 keys of dope in it. And they want to know how her social security number was used. Give it to us so we can confirm it. We're working hand in hand with Livonia PD. She was smart enough, she didn't fall for it. Okay? She didn't fall for it. She doesn't give up her social security number. She hangs up the phone. 2 minutes later, it's ringing. She looks through the caller ID, it's Livonia PD. She picks it up. Guess what, folks? It was the scammers. Okay? They had purchased that number and listed it as like Livonia PD instead of Livonia Police Department. So the scammers can buy numbers and put whatever they want on it. Always let it go to voicemail. And once it goes to voicemail, whoever they say they are, you initiate and you make the phone call. It's DTE, pick up your bill and look. Anybody notice on their bills nowadays? It says on the back, don't fall for a scam, especially from the power company. It's listed right on the envelope, on the outside. I do electronic banking, same way. You know what they got listed in there? Don't fall for the puppy scam. Okay? Or you buy puppy online. Because what consumers are doing now is they're getting scammed and they're holding the companies responsible. Chase Bank paid them $3,000 for a puppy I never got. They want to go to litigation. So remember, you initiate anything. Number one, don't answer the phone. It'll go to voicemail. If it's something important, you initiate and call your own numbers to confirm everything. Pretty simple, right? That way you never get phone scammed. Okay? Because the scammers are going to do a little homework sometimes, and they're going to get good. They're very good at what they do, and they can get better. Do we have a sign-up sheet for this class?
There is, yeah, they could register.
I haven't seen it, but what happens when you go to a funeral? What happens when you go to a wedding? Anywhere that you use a sign-in sheet. If it's sitting right here, if I take my phone and take a picture of it, I have your information. Then I can use that information to con you.
The library sign-up is secure.
No, don't take this the wrong way, folks. And no, Aaron, I get this a lot because Bloomfield and everything, all this information I give you folks, you can look it up. Bloomfield had a senior center worker who scammed one of the senior center people. She befriended him, He was in his 90s, she was 71, I believe, and just started talking at the senior center and so on and so forth. Then she started going over having coffee with him. At some point, she asked if he, because he had several kids, if he had ever prepared a will. He told her no. She said, listen, I got a guy. He can come over and take care of it for you. Came over a week later with a gentleman. They're signing a bunch of papers, big stack. He's going through them. He didn't realize he signed his house over. $600,000, I think it was. Now think about that case also. How are you gonna prove that in court? She's gonna say, yeah, he said I loved her and signed his house over to me. It's mine now. You see what I'm saying? The representation of what, when I say like a list, a sign-up list, yeah, you can sign up that list. Just be aware, folks. That's all. Okay? Telephone scams, all right? I've sent out some, Aaron handed out some handouts, which are examples and stuff. On your phone also, you're gonna start getting text scams. There's quite a few of them. Okay, you're gonna get notification that your credit card is locked. Click on here for your identity, anything like that, okay? Folks, don't click on anything, erase it. Just simply erase it, okay? Any questions on phone scams? You can block it, you can do whatever you want, but just don't answer the phone, you're gonna see, oh my gosh, they don't call me back no more.
Well, most phones give you an opportunity to report the spam or scam, don't they?
There is so much with your phone now. They want in any type of scam that's involved because the feds, your phone or your computer, wire fraud, those are totally different charges. They're not state charges. So they're starting to prosecute some of these criminals that are overseas.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm not an expert on that end of it, but yeah, they want everything reported now. So, and hopefully it's doing some good because they are getting some prosecution. So on the one sheet there, if you flip it over, there should be, right there, you looking at that? That is, for me, the number one scam. It's on the back of your sheet, computer virus. So as far as computer scams, this is number one, at least in my eyes. Has anybody had this happen to them?
Virus scam,
Yeah.
yes.
So what happens is you either turn your computer on or you're working on your computer, your screen will go blank, it will come up blue. In my case, the first time it happened to me, my alarm was going off on my computer. Beep, 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 beep. And what it says is you have a virus. This is Microsoft. Do not turn your computer off. If you turn your computer off, you're gonna lose all your passwords, all your photos, you're gonna lose everything. Do not turn it off. We have a Microsoft technician standing by right now that will help you get rid of this virus. And again, if you look at those, it's all the official looking logos. It looks very, very official. And guess what? When you make that phone call, there is someone there. And they're gonna help you get rid of that virus. But you know what? It's gonna cost you about $350. And once you pay it, the virus disappears. And guess what's gonna happen in 3 weeks? You're gonna have another virus. And then in 3 weeks, you're gonna have another virus. Okay? In the scam world, you can shear a sheep many times. You can only skin it once. Grandparent scam over the phone? Yep, I don't want $9,000. I want 300. And then the next day, I'm gonna get 300. And then the next day until you realize it's a scam. Okay? Microsoft, it's the number one scam. Okay? I do this class all the time. I have people, when I explain that case, is that a scam? I just paid him this morning. Why? Why does it work? Because the confidence portion. It looks like Microsoft. They had gotten to the point on some of them where when that page would come up, pornography would be in the left-hand corner, which then causes urgency for the elderly to get it off before someone sees it, their kids, their grandkids, whatever. I gotta pay to get that off. I gotta get it fixed, and they get scammed. What other type of scams you get on emails?
Oh, it wasn't email, but I fell for it about 6, 7 years ago. I was renewing my driver's license and it was a site that looked like the Social Security. They only got me for $13, but I still felt dumb or whatever, but, it said before you can make your appointment, you gotta pay somehow. I thought, that doesn't seem right, but, it's only $12.95 or whatever. You pay it and then it didn't go anywhere, and I didn't have an appointment, and then I figured it out, but I never got the money back.
You're gonna receive notifications via your email. This is Amazon. Your order of 300 ducklings from Idaho is on the way. If you didn't order these ducklings, click here. Wells Fargo Bank, we've locked your account. Chase Bank, there's a virus. Your account's been compromised. Click here. All of this stuff, folks, it's gonna come across just like in the handout that is official looking. And they're wanting you to click on their site or to confirm your identity, and once you do, they're gonna have you. They're gonna have you. Okay? So we know how to avoid the phone scam, right? You don't answer. How do we avoid the computer scam? Click off it. Erase it.
Yeah, delete it.
Delete it. 100% sure. Just delete it. And again, if you're so concerned that it's something that's super important, you initiate. You don't call the Microsoft number, okay? That they give you.
That's on it.
Correct. You don't call the bank. Same thing. Utility worker impersonator, I walk up on the front porch dressed in that getup, and you say, hey, I'll call DT. And I hand you a card and say, here you go, call him. You call that number, it's the guy sitting in the van. Yeah, this is DTE. Yep, they're good looking guys on your porch. Yeah. Yep, I sent them. Okay? Initiate. Be aware, avoid, and initiate. Don't answer the phone. Don't let people walk up on you. Delete. It's simple, folks. It's simple. But sometimes we have a tendency to forget. Any questions on that?
Have you come across anybody who uses like LifeLock? I sometimes get asked if that's a good investment.
Okay, I'll give you want the street version or you want the street version?
Let me know your opinion on LifeLock.
Okay, does anybody in this room know anybody who has had their identity taken or stolen? I don't. I was in law enforcement, okay? LifeLock will ensure that, or they profess to say, they will pay up to $1 million to get your identity back. That's horse hockey. I'm telling you right now. So, can you protect your identity? Let me answer the question. No, I would not get LifeLock. I think it's a waste. Can we protect our identity? Yes. Not completely. We all go to the doctor, right?
Mhm.
If I go to the doctor's office, I'm a criminal, and I say, I'll give you $5,000 for 100 social security numbers, what do you think that person's gonna do? Okay, so you've gotta be aware and cognizant to protect your identity, but there's nobody gonna pay that much money, $1 million.
How about, what's it called when you can call, you gotta call the three major, like Equifax and all that, you could put a lock on opening any bank account, any new line of credit, you set up your own passcode. And even if it's you trying to get a TJ Maxx card, they're not gonna let it unless you go back into their system and open it up to get a new bank account or something like that.
And what do you gotta pay for that?
It's free.
Through who? It's the first I've ever heard.
There's Experience, Trans, something.
All the three major credit, so
Yeah.
I don't know that it protects your identity, but they're not gonna allow you, even if it's you, without providing that password information. It's a real thing,
They're not gonna allow you to do what?
to open up, if you get offered a credit card and you sign up you go to a function and.
Yeah, that's totally different. That's a credit card thing.
Right, well, I'm saying,
So-
but they won't allow anyone to open up a bank account or anything.
Yeah, trust
Unless
me.
you open it up.
Yeah, trust me, they can get around that issue. That much I can guarantee you. I don't care who's trying to protect you. Because if you have a card, a bill, or something, you drop your driver's license, nobody can protect that. Nobody. You were in the city of Detroit and you want to cash a $6,000 check, I have your $6,000 check, I guarantee I'll be able to cash it at a liquor store. I'm gonna have to pay $600 to get it cash. It's good to have it, don't get me wrong, because I don't know that much about it, but what scares me about credit card, folks, remember this, okay? Remember this about credit cards. Has anybody had their credit card information stolen? And guess what happens? Let me guess. We got 5, 6 people in there. I can tell you exactly what happened, right? They said, yeah, we noticed that somebody, in my case, it was in like Colorado. Somebody used my credit card information. They said, tear up your credit card, do not use it. We've got a new one on the way. Okay. Wait a minute, I'm the police. What happened? What? Who used my credit card? Don't worry about it. And what happens? You get the new credit card and you keep going. Do you know why? Credit card companies will not prosecute anything under $5,000. You aware of that?
No.
It's too much. Anything under $5,000, it's not worth them going to litigation to prosecute. Ask your friends, anybody that number stayed under $5,000. Why it stayed under $5,000, I'll tell you. Tell you one more story about that. There was a crew. I would take Erin. I would give her $50 and say, I'm taking you to Chase Bank. I need you to open a credit, debit card account and get some checks. She would do that. Her name, my $50. Okay? She would come back. We would take those checks and we would up the number from 001 to 1001. Then we would take Erin shopping, Home Depot, Best Buy, with a U-Haul truck. Fill it up to just under, well, the number was $4,000. And at the time, the bank would allow her to go back and take out $300 cash because of the credit card. And then she'd tear it up. And then we'd sell everything in the U-Haul, and then next week we'd do it again. Never prosecuted. I went through it with all the banks, okay? There was no way you could convince them to do. The return on the payment, the interest on the credit card would cover their losses. Ma'am?
I wanted to ask you about the biometrics with your fingerprint on your phone or on a tablet, or is that any safer?
Yeah, the facial recognition is, the fingerprint is, all of it is somewhat secure, but I don't want to get a field I don't know too much about. What scares me is if I'm sitting here talking about eating creamed corn and I get home on my computer and pull up my Facebook, there's a can of creamed corn for sale. So what the heck is that about? I think anything that goes electronically, does everybody use electronic banking? You should.
Yeah.
You should, folks, really. I mean, I'm older and I'm a little bit scared of the technology, but you should. You know why? Because I check it every day. I have a business account, I have my regular account, and another account.
Yeah.
And I can check it every day and look at everything, everybody I pay. I don't have to write a check anymore, but somebody's gonna crack that. We already know that. So it's just something you gotta be aware of. I try to put as much as I can on my phone, protection-wise. And if you think LifeLock is better for you, please do it. All I'm saying, the bottom line for me is you cannot protect your identity. You're gonna make a mistake somewhere. You're gonna drop a check. You're gonna lose your license. You're gonna write your name somewhere with your date of birth and someone's gonna get it. That's gonna happen. That's just natural life. And until we get to the point where that stops, there's always gonna be crime. There's always. Somebody's gonna get that information, they're gonna use it. So, any more questions? We're slightly over.
No, but I have a family member, a cousin in New York. There was an incident there where somebody was going around and opening electronic operated garage doors.
Correct, they can do that.
Yeah, and
They can
then
get your code.
they'd see that there's no cars in the garage, they go in and rob the house.
Oh my goodness.
Well, how about this? And I can't stress this enough. This isn't a crime prevention class, but how many people put their car in their driveway and don't lock it? I put my car in my driveway and don't lock it. The guy can walk in there and open the door. It's now in your visor, folks. If you buy a new car, you don't need a remote control anymore. You know that, right? My remote control for my garage door is on my visor.
See, I don't do that.
Well, it's I don't want to get picked on, but we can ride the stagecoach here if we want.
Yeah.
Eventually, technology, we got to catch up with it and use it. So it's there available. And if it makes you safer to have that remote, do it. But there's so many, especially like for us older folks, like crimes like, I did a crew that pickpocketed the elderly. So I'm sitting in the parking lot, me and my partner, I see you go into the bank. My partner goes in and follows her. I make sure she's making a withdrawal. And what do old folks do with their money once they withdraw from the bank? Anybody know?
Put it in an envelope.
Oh, yeah, that big white envelope, right? I signal my partner on the phone. She's leaving the bank. The suspect in the bank follows her out. My partner stops her in the foyer and either drops coin wrappers or dry cleaning. And while she bends over to help, they lift the envelope. And then the suspects leave. She goes home, and then she can't locate her envelope. See what I'm saying? It's all that, don't ever get in the foyer with the suspects. They drop it, you pick that crap up. I'm not getting it. Okay? Any more questions? Any questions you got? Fire away. That's it? Okay, final. Did you guys know there was going to be a quiz at the end? I hope you were paying attention. Okay. Now, this class is free. I conduct this class for free. Okay? But if you don't know, I retired in 2013, and a year later, City went bankrupt. Y'all remember that, right? And you know what happened to old Sergeant Haig? They snatched my health care away. $700 a month I got to pay now for health care because the city went bankrupt. So in my bag, I have a can. I had to drive here, so trying to recover gas money or whatever you can spare. Okay?
Okay, after we've just listened to you for an hour plus or whatever about scams, and then you say, oh, hey, wait, I'm gonna pull this can out and set it in.
It's not a scam.
Nice, good work.
Good job.
Okay.
Fell for that. She did.
Okay, very good. She gets the star on her forehead. Number one question for you guys. How many know I'm a police officer? Or was? Nobody does.
We trust Aaron.
I was thinking
Could be a scam. That's why you know so much.
Hey, I can be the scammer, correct?
Aaron's having a heart attack over there.
Okay, nobody
I didn't
knows.
know this was perfect.
No. Trust me, Erin she did her homework. I've been here before. She's all good. But what I'm telling you folks is you do not know I was a police officer,
She may
correct?
be your accomplice.
But what was,
Yeah, right.
Oh, no.
but
She's the
what was number one?
church lady.
I sure as heck sounded like I knew what I was talking about, right? I sounded really good. Folks, that's what a scammer is, whether it's on the phone, on the computer, or on the street. Okay, so you have to be aware of that. Okay? That's all. You passed, y'all passed. I had a lady last class I did 2 days ago. She's following me around with a handful of money. I says, no, man, I was kidding. Oh, you need something, honey. I said, no. Honestly, I'm good. But yeah, do your homework, okay? Just like if you were gonna come to this class and listen to me, Google me, okay? See if I'm legit, okay? Some of the best scammers in the world. What's the number one scam ever of all time? Does anybody know? Bernie Madoff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Millions and millions of dollars. Why?
Yes.
Because he wore a suit and he was on the stock exchange and he presented himself that way.
Yeah.
Unreal, folks. How about Anna Nicole Smith? That's a classic sweetheart swindle. Everybody know who Anna Nicole Smith was? She was the Playboy bunny that fell in love with the 93-year-old guy, and he loved her. He loved her. But she got all his fortune when he passed away. So, you know, it's all in how it's like the Bloomfield, the senior center worker. You're gonna trust the senior center worker? For sure. Or at least you think you can. And he's signing that paperwork and signed a $600,000 house. So just be, folks, when I first got on the job, my siblings cracked up. Because I was on the job about a year and we were at a family get together and they said, what, you know, when you're out there, what is it? And this blurted out, and it's so basic. If it looks wrong, it is wrong. You know, if you're standing there going, that helmet don't look right, well, don't put the helmet on. It's something wrong. If you're engaged on the phone or in the street or anywhere with someone and you don't feel right, folks, it means it's wrong. Okay? Okay, you're done.
So did that guy
Thank
get his
you.
house back?
No?
No.
How's he gonna get his house back? It's a he said, she said no. I wrote the book, it's on Amazon. On the book, but yeah, what you need to do, if you want me to come in and talk to people about self-defense, I will come and stress to them not to get approached by anybody. If you're unaware and they get on you, there is no way you're gonna be able to fight me. You could kick me in my manhood, scratch my eyes, do whatever you're gonna do.